honorable members of Council of State, honorable ministers of state present, honorable members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Chief Directors and Chief Executive Officers of MDAs, our development partners, our distinguished partners, distinguished colleagues, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. On Monday, I stood here, the 4th of December 2017, and I indicated that the activities during the Anti-Corruption and Transparency Week were precursors to the NACAP conference and the celebration of the International Anti-Corruption Day, 9 December 2017. I also mentioned that the 9th of December is a day that has been set aside to raise awareness of corruption and of the role of the United Nations Convention Against Corruption in combating and preventing corruption. It's my pleasure to have you again this morning, and I thank you for honoring our invitation. This is yet another demonstration that we are together in this endeavor. Honorable Chair, Honorable Representative of the President, by UN Resolution number 58-4 of October 31st, 2003, the 9th of December was declared an International Anti-Corruption Day to be observed by the international community each year to create awareness about the evils of corruption and to enlist public support in combating corruption. This year's theme for the celebration, quote, United Against Corruption for Development, Peace and Security, unquote, seeks to raise the momentum for the achievement of the SDGs in order to build the world that we want. It goes without saying that if Ghanaians want to build the Ghana we want, the campaign against corruption and for the achievement of the SDGs must be taken more seriously. Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, as you may be aware, the UNCAC and the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan complement each other and have a lot in common. NACAP is a national policy that states the state parties to the UNCAC are required under Article 6 to develop, implement, and maintain, so that if we implement NACAP fully, Ghana will be brought into compliance with the UNCAC. And just as the UNCAC, the NACAP seeks to address corruption through prevention, raising awareness of the negative effects of corruption, law enforcement, and international cooperation. It also stresses on the value in taking back assets acquired through corruption. Such a policy requires constant feedback on how it is being implemented in order to ensure that we are all on board. Providing feedback is therefore an important step to promoting awareness of corruption and the NACAP. Honorable Chair, Your Excellencies, we began the 2017 celebration by launching the National Anti-Corruption and Transparency Week, Act 6.0, during which various activities were undertaken to enlist support for anti-corruption. And just yesterday, we discussed the annual progress report on the implementation of the NACAP 2016 and aspects of which the Deputy Commissioner for Charge will present to you shortly. I have no doubt in my mind that the activities of the week and the conference would position us better to promote the effective and sustained implementation of both the NACAP and the UNCAC. Honorable Chair, Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, As we celebrate the day, let us remember that a combination of approaches is very critical in order to address corruption more effectively. Prevention, awareness raising, and law enforcement. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner, for welcoming all of us. The dialogue has to continue. We will now call upon Mr. Richard Quayson, Deputy Commissioner Straj, to come and make a presentation of the state of corruption. The report, give us a report, and also give us the key actions for 2018. Shall we welcome him with a clap?
Thank you very much, Joy. Honorable MC for today. Honorable Chair, our special guest of honor representing His Excellency the President. Mr. Emil Short, former Commissioner of Straj, Commissioners and heads of commissions, members of Parliament, Excellencies, Chief Directors, Chief Executive Officers, our wonderful development partners, and the art partners for the week. We've had a very wonderful partnership of stakeholders who have stepped to the plate to give the week a certain significance for moving the fight against corruption forward. And we are very grateful. Honorable Chair, before I proceed with my report, I would like to add my voice to the Commissioner to welcome you all and express our appreciation for joining us this morning to commemorate the International Anti-Corruption Day. Recognizing the third day is not an easy day for Ghanaians in particular. So your presence here for us is very heartwarming, demonstrating that we are taking this fight seriously. We are indeed encouraged. Thank you very much for coming. Honorable Chair, Honorable Special guests, my duty this morning is to provide a very brief statement on the state of corruption and also to give highlights of the key activities for 2018. Very brief. But I would like to begin my presentation with some newspaper allegations that were recorded in the year. Ghanaian Times of 17 June 2017, page 3, embezzlement of 9.2 million at Tepanesi College. Daily Graphic, 20th July, 2017, page 3, account officer of GRA in trouble for stealing 310,000 belonging to the state. Daily Graphic again, 31st August 2017. CID proves 3 government appointees over bribery allegations. Daily Graphic, 20th September 2017. Page 16. Admission for sale in first class SHS. You want to ask, why have I taken these reports? This report and that trial review show that corruption is rife in Ghana and may be perpetrated in any institution and at any level. It is not only at the political level, but it can be at any level too. Again, released a few weeks ago, the Afrobarometer Survey Round 7, we sampled 2,400 respondents from 293 towns in 171 districts in 10 regions, disclosed among others that large sections of Ghanaians believe that some to say most of public officials are involved in corruption. Officials referred here to include the police, judges and magistrates, government officials, members of parliament, local government representatives, district chief executives, officials of the Election Commission, and officials of the Office of the President. Again, in this same survey, large majorities believe that some said most, of the informal leaders and private organizations, and these include traditional leaders, business executives, media persons, public and private, religious leaders, and civil society organizations are involved in corruption. So the picture shows that corruption is quite pervasive in this country, and it is not limited to public services. It cuts across all sectors of our society. Honorable Chair, in July 2014, your August House, the Parliament, adopted for implementation the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan. Implementation of the plan commenced in 2015. And yesterday, the Commission released the second implementation progress report. Stakeholders from the various parts of the country discussed the report, and I would like to pick just a few of the items that came for your attention. One area of significant achievement in the implementation of the NACAP was in the area of awareness raising on corruption. According to the reports that we received, about 10,259 public awareness and sensitization programs were organized on the NACAP on corruption, anti-money laundering, and countering the finance of terrorism by the implementing partners of the NACAP. The media was also inundated with reports and discussions on corruption and its effect on human life and our country. The second area I would like to mention has to do with preventive measures that were introduced. These measures were introduced to strengthen internal controls and reduce opportunities for corruption in public offices. Among the activities that were carried out was the development of a generic customer service charter aimed at promoting transparency and accountability and improving service delivery by public sector institutions. About 21 of the implementing partners who reported having developed and disseminated sexual harassment policies in their workplaces to staff through staff debtors, handbooks, and manuals. Honorable Chair, if we are following the trends of the international scene, we know that today sexual harassment has become a topical issue. Many politicians and many leaders are resigning because of the issue of sexual harassment. We should take it seriously because it is something that distorts the workplace environment. the Internal Audit Agency reported that 343 ARICs had been established in public services across the country, as at the time the Public Financial Management Act was passed in 2016. Now that the new law requires that the ARICs should be designated as audit committees, we are hoping that we'll be able to establish all the committees that must be established in public institutions so that we get the benefit of the law. TRAJ also launched the Public Service Integrity Program, under which the first batch of 50 ethics officers were trained. Integrity compliance tools, including GATE register and disclosure forms and code of conduct compliance questionnaires, were also developed for use by public officers. Public Service Commission also reported that they are now ensuring that persons who are appointed to offices who are required, to declare their assets are given the asset declaration form upon appointment before they assume duty, so that they can fulfill the requirement of the law. We think that this is very commendable because the problem that we are having is compliance. The law is there, but we are not complying with these laws. The Public Service Commission also continued its open and transparent recruitment policy into public office by advertising 68 vacant positions. We also received reports from 36 IPs that they had established an operation like safe reporting channels at their workplaces, including online platforms, toll-free lines, and client service centers for people to report wrongdoing and corruption in their workplaces. Honorable Chair, in the area of investigation and prosecution, the reports show that the country did not do very well. Between TRAJ, IOCO, and BNI, about 300 corruption-related cases were investigated. IOCO, in collaboration with the agencies of a department, recovered over 20 million in relation to the TIDA cases. 33 officials of the National Service Scheme were, as at the end of 2016, being prosecuted, while preparations for the prosecution of about 130 was also in progress as at the end of 2016. 163 personnel of the scheme were also dismissed for various offenses, and about 18.5 million Ghana cedis had been recovered to the state as at the end of 2016. We of the stakeholder group are therefore happy to note that the Office of the Special Prosecutor is coming to strengthen investigation and prosecution of corruption in the country, the area where we are most weak. Honorable Chair, overall, there was an increase in the number of activities implemented, as well as the number of IPs who reported on NACAP implementation. Nevertheless, significant challenges remain. Although response by public sector institutions and other implementing partners increased in 2016, the level of participation is still very low. Of the 340 IPs who were expected to report in 2016, only 56 they proposed. And of the 56, only 4 of them were MMDAs. Limited knowledge about the NACAP, institutional responsibilities, sense of ownership of the NACAP and anti-corruption effort generally, and commitment on the part of some IPs continue to impede progress of implementation. Finally, inadequate budgetary resources for implementation of NACAP is also slowing down implementation. Honorable Chair, the IPs and other stakeholders recommended that government should adequately resource and strengthen tribes to enable it to provide effective support to MDAs, MMDAs, civil society organizations, faith-based organizations, the media, and all other stakeholders for the implementation of NACAP. Because that is one plan that the nation has accepted as the plan for combating corruption over the 10-year period. It was also recommended that IP should plan and budget for the implementation of NACAP so that implementation is more systematic instead of it being sporadic. Again, stakeholder consultation should continue to build consensus and enhance participation of stakeholders in the implementation of NACAP. Honorable Chairperson, at the NACAP Technical Committee workshop held yesterday, at which we had about 250 participants attending, the workshop mapped out priorities for the NACAP implementation for 2018. And I will try to quickly jump you through the highlights or the priority areas. As you know, the NACAP is broken into 4 key parts under 4 strategic objectives. So under strategic objective 1, to build public capacity to condemn and fight corruption and to make corruption a high risk and low gain activity. Stakeholders agreed, 1, we should start the rollout and implementation of the National Cultural Review Program under activity number 1 under strategic objective 1. 2, that we should mainstream anti-corruption, ethics, and integrity in public, private sector, civil society, and religious organizations. And this activity is activity number 5 under strategic objective number 1. Introduce models and elements to highlight and strengthen good and ethical values in primary, secondary, and tertiary, and formal and non-formal education. If we recall, the senior minister at the launch of the anti-corruption bill also indicated that the government has already instructed the Ministry of Education to start work on ethical training in schools. So we believe that starting next year should take us where we must go. We also to develop co-curricular anti-corruption activities such as establishment of integrity clubs in junior and secondary schools. That is on activity number 7. Provide educational materials for fighting corruption for schools, vocational, technical, and universities, and the general public. That's activity number 8. introduce anti-corruption sermons and teachings in places of worship. And Honorable Chair, we had the faith-based organizations and the traditional authorities here, and they thought that it is time for us to encourage the faith-based organizations to start speaking strongly on corruption from their places of worship. And next year, we hope that we'll be able to put these activities in motion. All MDAs and MMDAs and public sector institutions present agree that we should incorporate and enforce anti-corruption clauses in business contracts, which is an activity 25 under the strategic objective number 1. Finally, we must develop and implement code of conduct for corporate bodies, traditional authorities, and not-for-profit organizations like the civil society. We note that we have already developed code of conduct for public offices, and we are in the process of translating this into statute. We think that corruption should not be limited to public sector. So next year, we hope that we'll be able to work on this program. On the strategic objective number 2, institutionalizing efficiency, accountability, and transparency in public, private, and not-for-profit sectors. Stakeholders agree that we should conduct systemic examination of corruption-prone MDAs and public institutions to identify and plug corruption loopholes where there are opportunities for people to abuse the system. They will take advantage. That is activity number 1 under the strategic objective number 2. Monitor implementation of system examination reports and recommendations. In other words, after we conduct this examination, we should also ensure that the recommendations are implemented so that we can actually seal the corruption loopholes in those institutions. Develop and implement customer service charters in all MDAs, public and private sector institutions. That's activity number 10 on the strategic objective number 2. As I said already, we have developed the prototype client service charter. So next year it is going for this project out and so that public institutions develop customer service charters to promote transparency and accountability in institutions. 4, establish and strengthen audit committees in all MDAs and MMDAs. Under the average, we were doing quite well, but we have established 343. We're hoping that coming next year, we'll be able to cover almost all public institutions and establish the audit committees to strengthen internal controls. Enforce legislation regulating the operations of political parties. This was passionately canvassed yesterday, including limiting political party finance. I'm sure anyone who has observed the political scene will agree that there hasn't been this in political finance in this country. And this is what the stakeholders are saying that we should do. It is part of the NACA, and that we should implement them. Enact Conduct of Public Officers Bill. And I'm happy that Mr. Chair has been involved in this bill for some time now. So, Mr. Chair, I hope that you bring the authority of the office to speed up the passage of the Conduct of Public Officers Bill next year. Review the Assets Declaration Law. Under the Conduct of Public Officers Bill, the Asset Declaration is incorporated, so it will do that too. Train ministers, MPs, and other public officers on public sector ethics. Mr. Chair, Honorable Special Guest representing His Excellency the President, if I do recall, one of the recommendations of the Anani case was that all government appointees of a certain level, MPs, ministers, chief executive heads of department, should all put compulsory training on conflict of interest and code of conduct. This is yet to materialize. The NACAP has also made provision that we should do this. I'm hoping that next year we'll be able to respond to the public that indeed we are taking these things seriously. Enforce conflict of interest rules and educate public officers on conflict of interest. Request public officers to disclose personal interests. Example, affiliations upon taking up public appointments. So that there is a certain level of transparency and accountability in public offices. When I take measures to prevent corruption in the election of chief executives and members of MMDs. Honorable Chair, even though we have not been able to investigate and establish that corruption is taking place, the rumors and the reports and the grapevine show that a lot of things are going on, which is not so healthy for our democracy. So the position is that we should look at elections of chief executive and presiding officers or members and ensure that there is transparency. And this year we are looking to government full leadership in this area. The final program under strategic objective number 2 is providing adequate security for the preparation, packaging, and distribution of examination papers to reduce leakages and examination malpractices in the country. On the strategic objective number 3, to engage individuals, media, and civil society organizations in reporting and combating corruption. It was decided for next year we should implement activity number 1 on educating media practitioners, NGOs on anti-corruption methods, practices, and challenges of fighting corruption. Implement activity number 4 on developing whistleblowing and other reporting mechanisms. Honorable Chair, it is true that in Ghana we have passed the Whistleblower Act, but it is also true that we have not succeeded in establishing the whistleblowing mechanism across the country. Triage, for example, can say that since the passage of the Whistleblower Act, we cannot boast of even 100 cases on the Whistleblowing Act. It means that we must take steps to educate and also to establish mechanisms that will make it easier for people to go with. There's a lot of work that we have to do there. And we are hoping that, I think this one is not the hope that disappoints. We are committed to establishing the whistleblowing mechanism across the country. Create a confidential system for citizens to report cases of corruption and provide legal advice to victims of corruption. That's activity number 6. And activity number 7, enhance.
I was never described as corrupt. The period that was coming up. So we cannot reap where we are not sown.
The people that we live with every day are the ones we elect to be our assembly members, the ones we elect to be our members of parliament, the ones we elevate to become chief and ministers and so on. So they did not bring anything new into the positions. It is the same bad values they have lived with, they have lived and practiced over the years that has become now showing because they have come into the limelight. So I think that we should focus heavily on building new values and then ensuring that people who are punished. In my paper, it is stated that in countries like Brazil, very big names like Da Silva have been sent to prison. Somebody who was about larger than life because of the way he moved his country in economic terms. Notwithstanding, once they found that he has taken a bribe or offered a bribe, he is punished. Examples abound. If it happened here in Ghana, what will happen? We will probably still be fighting because we will not be discussing the matters relating to the person's conduct or misconduct. We'll be looking at it from the point of view of our parties and the political cultures we represent. Those are the weaknesses we must address. I think that we still have a weak, if any, loyalty to the state, our state institutions, or to our laws. Our loyalties are still to our clans, our political parties, our ethnic groups. We need to work hard at changing them if we are going to be able to make new impact. In 2015, we had a delegation from Botswana, yes, the Parliament of Botswana. And in our discussions, I asked them, my committee, Constitution and Legal Affairs, I asked them, how is it that every year you are on top of Africa in terms of corruption perception index? The man said something that challenged me. He says that in our country, a Botswanian will not sleep if he sees somebody doing something wrong and he has not reported the person. I don't know how they did it, but I'm sure it did not happen by accident. It involved work, continuous orientation and reorientation, and the faith in the institutions that if I reported this officer, the law will take its course. That officer will not be left free to come back and harm to me. So beyond everything else, our orientation and reorientation program must be deepened. As I sit here, from 2014, I've been working with this committee on anti-corruption agenda programs. But I go back to Bekwai every day, and I don't know whether the people of Bekwai know about this. It appears to me that our discussions and our actions are way too much up here. We need to go back down, probably appoint anti-corruption agents at the lowest level. Because, like you said, it is true that it's happening every day in our political sectors. It is becoming a culture, whether you like it or not. There are things if you do not do, you will lose your seat. Or as MC, you will not be confirmed. It is a culture, a mindset that has developed and it's staying. We need to continue to work at this. And I encourage you in the 2018 agenda. I see that there are very promising seeds contained in the program for 2018. I hope that I'll get the opportunity to support you and assist you in what you do. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very brilliant morning, and I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to be part. I thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Chair. He encourages all of us to be statesmen and stateswomen to fight against corruption. We should develop ourselves to stop corruption and also fight it when it does happen. Imbibe high values in our children and be good examples. We should walk and talk and not just preach and forget about our actions. We should be good role models and widen the scope to reach all, not the high level, but to the lowest. Let's reach out in our own small ways, reach out to everybody. And for those who have the opportunity to spread the information, our traditional leaders are here, chief executives, district directors are here, regional coordinating councils are here. Let's widen the scope so everybody gets to know about corruption. We change our attitudes and our behaviors and also be able to fight this canker. It's eating us up and we need to arrest it and put it at its right place. Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairperson. We have come to the end of today's proceedings and we will be having a photo session after this before media interactions, and lunch would come after that. There is a missing diary that has come to my notice. It is a blue and green Ghana Airport Corporation. It says a diary and it has materials on anti-corruption. Please, the owner's number is 02 330 another 30. So it is 5 3s. 02333330. So 02333330. The owner is pleased in need of it because there are very important materials in it and he would be grateful to have it. We are most grateful to all of you for your time and for your attention. The dialogue has to continue. Let's preach the gospel and set good examples, report corruption issues, and we plead that law enforcement agencies should effectively investigate corruption and punish all corrupt individuals, not just public officials, but any individual who corrupts himself. Take our money for us with interest before you jail them.
Very necessary.
That is my plea. My plea. Take all our monies with interest for us and let us jail them too. We are most grateful for having you. The program has come to an end. God bless you all. I'm told that checkouts would come when it's after 12. So anybody who slept in has to check out by 12. If not, will be charged an extra money. So checkout has to be done by 12 noon. If Reverend Ansan is, Reverend Ansan, can you please do us the honors of closing the day for us? He's a member of the National Planning Committee and he's been very helpful. Reverend Ansan, we acknowledge him.
We're grateful to God that we have finally come to the end of this assignment. We want to rise to our feet as we close the prayer. Let us pray. Our Father, we thank you for today, which brings to the end the program, but not the end of our activities as we combat corruption. We ask for strength, for more wisdom, for more grace, and more resources, more insight. Lord, not just to talk, but to do something about this situation. Help us as we go out there to make our impact, that our nation will be much better.